Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim wa bihi nasta'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli wa ma tawfiqi illa billah alayhi tawakkaltu wa ilayhi unib. मोहतरम हजरात व ख़वातीन, इस वक्त जिस मौजू पर मुझे बात करना है वो है नज़्म-ए-कुरान as an approach to researching Islamic texts and traditions. So, how many of you are familiar with this topic, Nazm-e-Quran or coherence in Quran? Have you read anything about it? Yeah. Which book?
From the Institute of
Yeah. So today we'll be discussing coherence in the Quran as an approach or as a framework for understanding Quran as well as other Islamic texts and Islamic tradition. So before discussing about coherence in the Quran as a framework, I would like to highlight the prevalent approaches to understanding Quran. What are the prevalent approaches that are there for understanding Quran? So there are two approaches. If we collect all the tafsir work, they broadly follow two approaches. One is tafsir bil masur and another is tafsir bil rai. तफसीर बिल राय का मतलब अकल से सोच समझ के तफसीर करना, और तफसीर बिल मासूर का मतलब जो ट्रेडिशन है, जो कुछ नरेशंस हैं, उनकी बुनियाद पे तफसीर करना. तो ये दो चीज़ें बहुत कॉमन है, ट्रेडिशन बेस्ड अप्रोच और ट्रेडिशन बेस्ड इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ कुरान. And second one is reason-based understanding of Quran or reason-based interpretation of Quran. But if we see both approaches, they are not, these two approaches, they do not delineate any principles of interpretation, whether it is tafsir bil masur or tafsir bil rai. If you take a text, there is Quranic text, how will you interpret that text? So this question is not answered in both these approaches. So tafsir bil rai, whenever we take any book on usul-e-tafsir or ulum-ul-Quran, it says that you have to look for the traditions of narrations of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and then first they mention tafsirul Quran bil Quran, interpreting Quran with Quran. That too a narrow concept of tafsirul Quran bil Quran. Then they talk about tafsirul Quran bil hadith or bil riwaya. So this is also, if you look at the collection of hadith, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he did not explain Quran. Companions of Prophet, Sahaba, they used to read, they used to understand, they used to ponder over it. But Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he did not teach Quran verse by verse. He did not tell the meaning of this word, this verse means so and so. So this was not needed for them. They were Arabs and they used to understand Quran. So tafsir bil hadith, we find very few narrations which interpret Quran. Then we have Aqwalus Sahaba and Aqwalut Tabi'in. That is Sahaba's companions' opinions and Tabi'in's opinions on tafsir. So those books which are based on tafsir bil masur, if you take any book, it will mention a number of interpretations under one verse. So, for example, what is the meaning of Kausar? So, it will tell some 15 or 16 meanings of Kausar. Okay, so that is the problem with this, interpretation. Then we have Tafsir bil Rai. Tafsir bil Rai, there are different schools of thoughts, theological school, juristic school, likewise Sufi school. So what these people do, they read Quran, they approach Quranic text with their own lens. So as if they read their own opinions in Quranic text. So they don't want to find what Quran says. They have some preconceived notions, and they read those notions in that in Quran, like Mu'tazilites or Asharites, whatever they believe, whatever their you know school of thought believes, they try to find that in Quran. And the same thing applies on modern method tafsir bil rai. If we extend this, we can also include feminist interpretation of Quran and liberation theology. Farid Ishaq and others talk about liberation theology, that is you approach the text from subaltern perspective. So it is not important what text is telling you, so what we think or what we want to see in the text. So that is not the proper method of understanding Quran. So if you see that, we find these two types of approaches, tafsir bil masur and tafsir bil rai, and both these approaches do not devise any rules for interpretation of Quran or any principles for interpretation of Quran. How will you approach text? How will you derive meaning? How will you understand meaning? So they don't talk about these things. So yeah, then I will come to the concept of Nazm-e-Quran. So Nazm-e-Quran is not a new concept. Many people have written on this subject. They called it Ilmul Manasabat. Okay, so Abu Jafar Zubair al-Gharnati, he wrote a tafsir called Al-Burhan fi Munasabat Tartib al-Quran. Likewise, Burhanuddin Biqai, he wrote Nazmud Durar fi Tanasub al-Ai wa Suwar in many volumes. Likewise, Jalaluddin Suyuti, he wrote Tanasub al-Durar fi Tanasub al-Suwar. So people, they were aware of this type of tafsir. See, there are two opinions. The popular opinion is that Quran has no order in it. Okay, so it is not and arranged in a particular order. So it is just pieces of wisdom. Wherever you approach, wherever you read, you'll get some wisdom. So we don't need to find any connection between verses. We don't need to find interlinkages between different surahs and chapters. We don't need to do it because Quran was revealed over the period of 23 years, and it does not have any nazm or any arrangement or any order at all. So this is the popular view that generally people hold. But this view is not flawless, because Quran is not there in its chronological order or in the order of revelation. This order has been changed. So it has been arranged in another order that is called Tartib Tawqifi. So what does it mean? It means that there has to be any reason for reordering the Quran in a specific order, rearranging the Quran in a specific order. So there has to be some reason for that. So likewise, there are Quran is divided into different chapters, different surahs. Some surahs are very small, some surahs are very big, some surahs are medium in length. So if there is no particular theme for a surah, it means that the companions or prophet, he asked the companions to write some verses. Then he thought that now, okay, we'll write another Bismillah and start another chapter. So it's not like that. So each chapter has its own theme. Sorry. Yeah, so I was talking about ilmul munasabat, what people did, that they wrote different tafsirs and they produced different work on this ilmul munasabat on Nazm-e-Quran. But the problem with these works is that they did not follow any particular methodology or particular framework for interpretation of verses. So whatever the interpretation was available there, they took all those interpretation and they tried to link those verses on the basis of those interpretations, whether they were correct or not. It was immaterial. Okay. So what will happen if you take any wrong interpretation of one verse and you will take right interpretation of one verse, then you will try to connect between these two verses. You will not be able to connect. Okay. So what will you do? You will try to connect by any means. Okay. If you want to connect any two things, we can connect it. Okay. But that connection will not be, it will not be a natural link, or it will not, there will be an element of artificiality in it. Okay. So this was one problem with these people. They did not follow any particular approach and particular principles of interpretation. Likewise, they followed a linear approach for connecting verses. Okay, so they took a particular surah, and verse number 1 is connected to verse number 2, 2 is connected to verse number 3. This is something artificial. This is if you take any article or any piece, any write-up, we cannot connect each and every sentence in that. Okay, overall the article has to make sense. It has to have some particular theme. It has to deal with different aspects of that theme. So that is the natural way of connecting things. But these people who connected Quran, who sought to understand munasabat, linkages between verses, they adopted an artificial way and this kind of thing. Yeah, one more thing about these ilmul munasabat, works on ilmul munasabah, that is, they did not think that these interlinkages or this munasabah is essential for understanding the text. Okay, it's not. They didn't think that it is a key for understanding Quran. They thought that it is like thank you. Yeah, lataif, ilmi lataif kind of thing. We found some connection, and it is it gives us the sense of beauty. That it's amazing to know that there is a connection between these verses. If we don't know that connection, then also it will not make any difference. That kind of work they produced. Coming to the work of Imam Farahi, he gave a comprehensive concept of nazm, comprehensive concept of coherence in Quran. So he thought that coherence in Quran is the key to understanding Quran. If we don't follow the coherence, we ignore the nazm, we will end up interpreting Quran in a wrong way. So it is necessary to seek nazm, and it is necessary to understand the what is the nazm, what is the coherence in Quran. So I'll talk about his concept of nazm. What is there in Farahi's concept of nazm? Farahi says that each surah has a theme. Okay, each surah has a theme, and different whatever there is in that surah, whether it is an example, whether it is a story, whether it is an argument or whatever, all those things, they lead to a particular they Yeah, they revolve around that particular theme. For example, the theme of Surah Al-Baqarah, he says that Dawatul Iman, uh, Dawatu Ahlil Kitab, inviting Ahlil Kitab, people of the book, especially Yahud, Jews, to believe in the Prophet. Okay, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This was the theme, or this was the umud or central theme of Surah Baqarah. So wherever you read Surah Baqarah, this central theme is there. You'll find this central theme in the whole of the surah. So the surah starts with Alif Lam Mim Zalikal Kitab La Rayba Fi Alladhina Yu'minuna Bima Unzila Ilayka wa Ma Unzila Min Qablik. Okay, so these people not only believe in what was revealed before you, but they believe in you also. So likewise, the surah ends like Aman Rasulu Bima Unzila Ilayhi Min Rabbihi. The same thing with the same theme. The surah ends, and wherever you take this surah, the same argument will be found. So each surah has a particular theme. Then surahs, chapters are usually in the form of pairs, musanna, tawam. So there are two, surahs which complement each other, like Surah Baqarah and Al Imran. So Baqarah is focused on faith, and Al Imran is focused on faith-oriented action, Iman and Islam. Likewise, Talaq and Tahrim. Talaq is focused on you should not exceed in the limits of Allah in the times of love, hate. Sorry, talaq. And in tahrim, you should not exceed the bounds of Allah in the times of when you love anyone. You should not exceed the limits of Allah. So these two things are complemented. Likewise, Surah Falaq and Surah Nas. These two are pairs. Surah Nasr and Surah Lahab. These two are pairs. Surah Nasr talks about the victory of Muslims, and Surah Lahab talks about the defeat of Kufr. So Ja al Haq wa Zahaq al Batil. These two aspects are discussed in these two surahs. So likewise, these pairs, they have an element of complementarity. They complement each other. So if one surah talks about anything in brief, another surah talks about the same thing in detail. And if one surah focus on theory, another surah in that pair focus on action. Likewise, surahs, they complement each other. So he told that in Quran, surahs are usually paired. They are in form of pairs or tawam. Yeah, the third element of this Nazm is that surahs are arranged in groups. So Farahi talked about 9 groups, and his disciple Islahi, he said that there are 7 groups. He refined this concept, and he said that there are 7 groups of surahs, and each group has a central theme, and each surah in that particular group, it singles out any particular aspect of that theme and discusses about it. Okay, so this is how he talks about the concept of nazm. So surahs are a unit, it's a whole. It's not like different things are discussed in a particular surah. It has a particular theme. Like if you take surah Teen, Wattini was Zaytun, Waturi Sinin, Wahadal Baladil Amin. So it talks about the Qanunul Mujazat, law of reward and punishment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to reward us and punish. Either he will reward or punish on the basis of our deed. So this thing has been explained in that surah, which says in the end, Alaysallahu bi ahkamil hakimin. So Isn't Allah the Ahkamul Hakimin? So I briefly discussed about the concept of Nazm that Farahi gave. Then I'll come to the framework. What is this framework all about? So there are some basic premises in this framework. So one of those basic premises is that what is the position of Quran? So usually the whole of Ummah believe that Quran is the central text of Islam. So it is de jure central text of Islam, but de facto it is not like that. So juristic schools, they have their own text. They try to interpret Hadith and Quran according to their own schools of thought. Likewise, people of Hadith, they try to interpret Quran in the light of Hadith. So that thing is there. So they make Quranic text subservient to narrations, prophetic narrations. So ideally, it has to be the central text of Islam. So the basic premise in this, Nazm-e-Quran framework is that Quran, what is the position of Quran? Quran is the central text of Islam. Quran is the primary text of Islam. It has to be given primacy, and no other text has to be, no other text should overrule it. Okay, everything should be subservient to it. So we will not, there is any contradiction in Quran and Hadith. So we will not, reinterpret Quran, but we will reinterpret Hadith. So likewise, so what is the position of Quran? Quran itself says that Quran is Mizan, Quran is Furqan. So Quran describes itself in different, it gives different attributes to itself. So one attribute is Mizan. So you can weigh anything. You bring a narration, you bring, any juristic opinion, you bring any opinion from theological school of thought, you bring any, opinion from, modern philosophy or postmodern philosophy, and Quran will weigh it and tell that this is okay or not, this is correct or not. So Quran is a mizan. Likewise, Quran says that Quran is a furqan. Furqan means it is a criterion of right and wrong. Likewise, Quran says that anzala ma'ahumul kitab liyahkuman bayna nas fi makhtalafu fi. Why this book has been revealed? This has been revealed so that it can, pronounce judgments whenever people different, they have difference of opinion in the matter of religion. This book is this is the book which will give final verdict. So we have to take final verdict from this book. So this is the nature of this book, this is the position of this book, and this is the central text of Islam. So this is one premise. Then another thing is that Quran itself says that Quran is a kitab-e-mubin. So kitab-e-mubin means it has a clear text. Likewise, it says that burhanum min rabbikum. It is a burhan. Burhan also means it is a clear text. There is no ambiguity in it. It is very clear. It is clear in itself. So from this we come to know that Quran is khatiyud dalala. So usually people believe that whenever you take any book on ulumul Quran, it will say that Quran is khatiyud subut. So we know that this is Quran and there is no doubt in it that this is the book that was given to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in its proof there is no doubt, but it is not khatiyud dalala. It is zanniyud dalala. Zanniyud dalala means it may have several interpretations. This book may have several interpretations. Some verses may be khatiyud dalala, but many verses of this book may have more than one interpretation. So this is not univocal text. So this school of thought, Farahi school of thought, says that Quran is qatiyud dalala. Imam Farahi says that Al-Quranu la yahtamilu illa ta'wila wahida. Quran does not entertain except one interpretation. So if we take, any book, Tafsir bil Masur, tradition based tafsir, we will, find n number of opinions about one particular verse. Likewise, if we take, books of kalam and books of, tafsir based, kalam based tafsir, and jurisprudence based tafsir, we will find different opinions under one verse. So Farahi says that no, it is not possible. Quran is a, kitab mubin, so it has to have one clear, you know uh, interpretation. If we, we cannot, reach to the correct interpretation, it is because our fault. Because of our, we may not be having enough knowledge. We may not have pondered over Quran as we should have done. So that may be the reason for it. But Quran in itself is clear. In itself, it has only one interpretation. So this is the very important point, because this is the thing that gives Quran that position of Mizan and Furqan. If any particular verse has many interpretation, it will no longer remain a verdict. Okay, you take a verdict from court, and if it has many interpretation, so this verdict will be null and void. Okay, this will serve no purpose at all. So this is another basic premise. Then we'll come to the tools of understanding Quran. So Farahi focuses on classical Arabic language, okay, as a tool to understand Quran. So how should we understand Quran? How should we approach Quran? He says that Quran has been revealed in classical Arabic, okay, bilisanin Arabiy mubin. So we have to, get expertise in that Arabic language. Then only we'll be able to understand Quran. So modern day Arabic is different, okay. Likewise, Arabic that was used by Mutanabbi or Abdullah bin Muqaffa or any other, medieval period Arabs, that is also different Arabic. So Quran was revealed in the language of Labid, in the language of Imraul Khayz, and likes. So we have to learn that language. So what kind of what the vocabulary, the styles, the diction, so all the aspects, if we master those things, then only we will be able to interpret Quran correctly. So he talks about words. He has written a book called Mufradatul Quran, wherein he, did research about some selected words which were interpreted wrongly by other scholars. So like one word is ahwa. Sanukriyuka. What is the verse? سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء نحوا. So what is the translation that usually people do? والذي أخرج المرعى, he brought out pastures, and فجعله غثاء نحوا, he made it black stubble. So black, ahwa means black. So this is how people understood. But Farahi, he looked at the classical Arabic usages of this word, and he quoted different you know uh, classical text. Musbilun fil hayy ahwa rifallu. Likewise, so he said that ahwa is actually it is something that turns blackish because of its fertility. Okay, if it is fertile, and it is green to the extent that it looks like black, so that kind of thing is ahwa. So gusa and ahwa doesn't mean we made it black stubble. It means we made it lush green. We created pastures, and we made it lush green. So gusa means dense, and uh, ahwa means here it's green, not that kind of black. Okay, so it makes sense. So when we take this particular meaning of this word, then we can understand the coherence of the whole surah. So this surah says that Sabbih isma rabbikal a'la alladhi khalaqa fasawwa. He created, then he perfected. Khalaqa fasawwa. Walladhi qaddara fahada. Walladhi akhrajal mar'a. Walladhi faja'alahu qusa'an ahwa. So there is a gradual process. There is a growth in it. So he created and he perfected. So there is a growth. But here, according to the common opinion, he made pastures and he destroyed it. So it doesn't make sense. So then Allah says that sanuqriuka fala tansa. We will teach you, you will not learn. Just like we follow the principle of graduality in everything. We will teach you gradually and you will not forget. So this is how Farahi has interpreted the Quran. So he has selected discussed on different words that are yeah. Then he likewise he discussed on asali styles of Quran. Quran has its own style. Classical Arabic language. They used to employ some styles while in their text. One of those style is omission. Omission means hazf. So you don't tell everything. You omit thing and you trust on the understanding of the other person who is hearing the text. So he will understand. So that omission is very common in Quran. So ma min dabbatin, yeah, fil ardi yatiru bi janahaiha wa ma min dabbatin yeah, what is it? Ma min dabbatin fil ardi wala ta'irin yatiru bi janahaihi. So if you look at this verse, you will find the omission. Ma min dabbatin fil ardi. So dabba. So what does dabba do in the earth? Tadibbu fil ard. It walks on the earth. Okay. Wala ta'irin yatiru bi janahaihi. And nor the bird which flies with his wings. So where does it fly? Fis sama. So fil arz is mentioned, fis sama is omitted. Likewise, bi janahaihi is mentioned, tatiru bi janahaihi, tadibbu bi rijlaihi is omitted. So this likewise, there are in many places this omission is there. So this is one example of Quranic style. If we don't understand this style, we don't appreciate it, we will not be able to understand Quran. Likewise, there is one uslub that is qasm. There are different places wherein oaths are mentioned, Quranic oaths are mentioned. So wal asr is there, wal fajri wal layalin ashr, wat tini waz zaytun. So what does it mean? Why oath is taken? Why do we take oaths generally? Yeah.
Validate something.
Yeah.
To validate something.
Yeah. How do we validate? Ma khasam. We did it. Huh?
Taking oaths is one of the ways to validate.
So we try to emphasize on the argument, and something that is that we think that it's it is esteemed. So we take oath of those things, like by the Quran ki qasam. So we use those things. But Quran is mentioning wal'adiyati zabhan. It's mentioning horses. It's mentioning the fig and olive and all. So Farahi, he wrote a book on this particular subject, Iman fi Aqsamil Quran. So he said that in Quran, oaths are not for the sake of something is revered and something is respected. So it's not to show that something is has users and something is revered and respected. Rather, it is, oaths are taken for the sake of evidence. Okay, in Arab literature, when they wanted to give evidence, they used to take oath. Okay, so wattini was zaytun means teen and zaytun, they are proofs of something. Waturi sinin wa hadal baladil amin. Likewise, Turi sinin and wahadal baladil amin, they are also proofs of something. What are what do they prove? Wattini was zaytun وطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم. We created man in a perfect manner. ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين. Then we turned him asfal safilin. He himself, inclined toward, those things. So this is one particular group. Another group is illa alladhina amanu wa amilus salihati falahum ajrun ghairu mamnun. So those who believed and those who did do good deed, these are another set of people. So what will happen to these two sets of people? فَلَهُمْ أَجْرٌ غَيْرُ مَمْنُونَ فَمَا يُكَذِّبُكَ بَعْدُ بِالدِّينِ. There is a day of judgment. أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِأَحْكَمِ الْحَاكِمِينَ. Allah is going to pronounce verdict on that day. So how, fig and how olive are proofs of day of judgment. How they, give, prove that one day will come wherein people will be rewarded and punished. So Farahi has explained this, in a particular way. So he has gone to the, classical Arabic text, and he has shown that, when matuf is used, matuf and matuf alayh, connection, wow, watteen, wazaytun, so four things are mentioned. Two things are mountains, Turi Sinin, Wahadal Baladil Amin. Okay, so Makkah is also a mountain and Turi Sinin is also a mountain. So why Allah mentions two fruits? Usually, if you take, tafsir books, they'll say that, fig has these benefits and olive has these benefits, and there is a whole industry, that is selling olive, citing this surah. So actually, he says that these are the names of places. What teen means, Jabaluddin, mountain of teen, where fig used to grow. That particular mountain, that is Judi. Okay. Likewise, Zaitun, it alludes to a place where, divine justice happened. In the case of Jesus Christ, okay. So, teen alludes to a place where divine justice. So it happened in the case of Nuh alayhi salam, and Zaitun, it alludes to a place wherein the divine justice happened in the case of Isa alayhi salam, and Tur Sinin, it's related to Musa, and Hazal Baladil Amin is related to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send messengers, so there is a difference. Farahi school of thought, they differentiate between Rasul and Nabi, messenger and prophet. So whenever messenger comes, divine judgment happens on this surface of this earth. Okay, so this is detailed in the several verses of Quran, in several surahs that talk about these divine reward and punishment, like Surah Qamar is there, and many other surahs and many other verses. So these are the places where divine justice happened. So people, those who believed in Noah alayhi salam, they were saved, and those who denied the message of Noah alayhi salam, they were destroyed. This justice happened on the surface of this earth. Likewise, those who believe in Jesus Christ, they were destined to rule. They were destined to have hegemony. Likewise, those who believed in Musa alayhi salam, they were saved, and Firaun was drowned. So these divine justice happened in different places. Likewise, in Baladul Amin also it happened. So this divine justice that happened on the surface of this earth, that you watch in the history of messengers, in the history of Rasul, this is a proof of the day of judgment. This is a proof of that people will be rewarded and punished according to their deeds. So likewise, Farahi focused on language. He focused on words. He focused on Quranic style and different aspect of Quran. And he said that Quran, in order to understand Quran, you have to knock the door of its words. Okay, so you cannot bypass the Quranic text and import meaning from somewhere else. That is what usually many of the mufassirin do. So Quran is saying something, and they have a different particular different interpretation. So then I'll come. I have due to time constraint, I'll summarize. Likewise, he gave some principles of interpretation. He devised some principles of interpretation that we don't find before. He wrote a book called Dalailun Usul Takmil fi Usul Tawil. How to interpret text. He gave some principles for that, like At-Tamassuk bin Nazm-e-Kalam, sticking to the coherence of Quran. Likewise, he said that Al-Mana Shaz la yultafatu ilay. Rare meaning will not be taken into consideration. Many mufassirins, they mention rare meaning. Like tamanna means qara. Tamanna means, the meaning of tamanna is to desire, to have, to wish. But mufassirin, what they do, they interpret it in the meaning of reading. Okay, so this is a wrong thing. So he gave a principle. Likewise, yurajjahu ma kana lahu shahid. When there are two interpretations, seemingly there are two interpretation of a text. When the interpretation which has a shahid, which has another verse that supports it, that will be preferred. So he gave some rules and principles for interpretation of Quran. Likewise, he gave some principles of for understanding and exploring Nazm. Even exploring Nazm, it doesn't based on, it's not based on our own whims and fantasies. We have to follow a particular methodology for exploring Nazm. So for both interpreting the text and understanding the Nazm, we have to follow a particular methodology. So he has given detailed. He has written on it detailed many books. Dalai Usul Takmil fi Usul Tawil. Likewise, Maulana Inatullah Subhani, he has also written books based on those books. Abdul Juban fi Taqwim Tadabbur al-Quran, Tahrir wa Tahrir fi Usul al-Tafsir, wherein he mentioned those principles using which we can interpret Quran correctly and we can explore the Nazm of Quran. Coming to the last part of the discussion, I'll tell what is the implication of this methodology on understanding different text, whether it is hadith or whether it is jurisprudence test. So we'll take for example the case of rajm, okay, stoning to death. So this is a classic example. Quran says that az-zaniyatu waz-zani fajlidu kulla wahidin minhuma miyata jalda. Zani, az-zaniyatu waz-zani, female fornicator and male. Fajlidu kulla wahidin minhuma miyata jalda. So both of them have to be lashed 100 lashes. This is the verse of Quran. This is very clear, but because of some narrations and because of some misunderstanding some narrations and misunderstanding some events that happened, people said that this punishment is only confined to unmarried people. Okay, as far as married people are concerned, they will be stoned to the death. And what is the source of that that thing? They said that is the narrations. So this text does not accept this. So if we use the Farahi's framework, Azani, al is for jins or istighraq. So it contains, it includes all forms of all types of fornicators. So with no exception. So everyone should be included here, and there is no exception. So then we go on reading these verses. We'll come to another verse. وَيَدْرَوْ عَنْهَا الْعَذَابَ أَنْ تَشْهَدَ. If a husband, he blames his wife that she has committed adultery, so what will happen? So husband has to he has to utter with shahada. Then if women have to safeguard herself, what she should do, what will stop her from being punished? وَيَدْرَوْ عَنْهَا الْعَذَابَ أَنْ تَشْهَدَ. She has to bear witness 4 times that she has not committed, and he is telling lie. So in this verse, Quran says that وَيَدْرَوْ عَنْهَا الْعَذَابَ, al-adab. So here al is used. So this alif lam, it refers to something which has been previously mentioned. Al azab means a particular azab. Which azab? Which has been mentioned in the text before. So what azab is mentioned? وَلْيَشْهَدْ أَذَابَهُمَا طَائِفَةٌ مِّنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. 100 lashes is the azab or punishment which has been mentioned in the text before. And here the azab means, al-azab means the same 100 lashes. So this verse has been revealed in the context of married women. So Quran itself clarifies that there is no difference between married and unmarried persons as far as punishment of fornication is concerned. As far as the rajm, Farahi school of thought says that it has been derived from ayatul muharaba. It is a punishment of habitual offenders. If a person is a rapist, or if a person is a habitual offender and he is creating nuisance in society, then he has to be stoned to the death. There is no solution at all for him. So it comes, they have cited ayatul muharaba from Suratul Ma'idah, innal ladhina yuharibuna Allah wa rasulahu, those who wage war with Allah and his messenger, jazahum yuqattalu, they have to be killed in very the severe manner. So that rajm is a form of taqtil. Likewise in Surah Ahzab is also it is mentioned that mal'unina aina ma suqifu ukhidhu wa qutilu taqtila. They have to be killed in a manner which should serve as a lesson for all. So this has been taken from these verses. So people have misunderstood and they have this punishment. So this is the application of this text. Likewise, there is a notion of itmamul hujjah that I discussed about, that when a prophet is sent, people deny the messenger, Rasul, not Nabi. When people deny Rasul, what happens? They are erased from the surface of this earth. They are punished on the very surface of this earth. So this is mentioned in n number of verses. The case of Nuh alayhi salam, case of Lut, case of Hud, and different how they were destroyed. So this has been mentioned in detail in Quran. So Rasul, when he comes, he खुदा की अदालत बनकर आता है. In the words of Islahi, he comes like the judgment that is going to happen in the hereafter, that happens here after the arrival of messenger. So this is one rule. So as a part of this rule, people usually the earlier people who denied messengers, they were destroyed at the hands of nature. Okay, but in the case of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a significant number of people believed in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and kuffar were punished at the hands of Muslims. Okay, so this also has been mentioned in different verses in Quran. Quran says that قَاتِلُوهُمْ يُعَذِّبْهُمُ اللَّهُ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ. You fight with them, you wage war with them. يُعَذِّبْهُمُ اللَّهُ بِأَيْدِيكُمْ. Allah will punish them with your hands. So this jihad was not like like any ordinary jihad, but this was the punishment given by Allah through the hands of Muslims. Okay, so this was the case. Wama qatalahum, wama ramaita iz ramaita, walakin Allah rama. Falam taqtuluhum, walakin Allah qatalahum. You did not kill them. Allah killed them. So Allah was, Allah and His Messenger were directly involved in the jihad. So on the basis of this, there is a interpretation of jihad also. Okay, so usually classical jurists, they say that once or twice in a year it is incumbent on Muslims that they have to wage war. Likewise, it will be war will be waged against kuffar. So as a result of their kufr. So in the light of this divine practice, Farahi school of thought says that no, it was confined to the direct addresses of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now jihad for the sake of against kufr or against shirk is not it's not permitted. Only jihad against oppression is permitted today. Against zulm, against oppression, that is what is permitted today. That kind of jihad. Likewise, irtidad, the apostasy is also it has also been interpreted in such a way. Likewise, there are different narrations of Prophet. La yarisul muslimu al kafir. There will be no relation of inheritance between Muslim and kafir. If a father is kafir and son is Muslim, he will not inherit his wealth. Likewise, if a son is kafir and father is Muslim, son will not inherit. There will be no relation of inheritance between Muslim and kafir. So this school of thought says that this is also related to that particular era wherein a direct addressees of Prophet was there, and they were in the in war. So that is why there was no relation of inheritance. Today it is possible to have this. This school of thought or this particular framework, it has many implication on different text understanding, whether it is narrations or whether it is juristic text. It has many implications on those things. So with this, I'll conclude my talk. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.